I was homeless a couple of painful years before I found housing. I mean, there's a lot of shame around homelessness, and I still to this day have some shame about that. That how could I, someone who's been educated and successful and born in white privilege, allow myself to descend to losing everything? It was the shock of losing everything, my family, friends, connections, self-esteem, home, possessions, that really woke me up to a world of pain, my own pain and the pain of others. There's a lot of stigma around homelessness. There's a lot of stigma around mental illness. I used to believe, back before my own bouts of disabling depression, I used to believe that mental illness was contagious, and I thought that homelessness was the result of some personal defect in the individual who just didn't care enough to keep themselves housed. I believed that earlier in my life. I do not believe that now. In a city that's one of the most expensive in the world to live in, the Tenderloin is one of the few remaining neighborhoods that has true affordability for really extremely low-income people. Although in the last 6 months, because of the homeless being pushed out from other neighborhoods by the police because of complaints, there's been more homeless probably coming to the Tenderloin than before. We don't have enough places to put them. For every shelter bed, we have 7 or 8 people applying per shelter bed. And I've heard Jeff Kaczynski in recent public testimony say it costs about $40 per day to put somebody in a homeless shelter. And that's a lot and not a lot, but it creates burdens on our medical system as they enter emergency rooms for minor medical complaints or use ambulances for routine medical care. It's expensive to not house people. It's really expensive. And at $40 per day to put somebody in a homeless shelter, we could do it. We could afford to do that. And by the way, the tech community could step up and help pay for that too. I think many who work in the tech field would like to help out. I think they just don't know how to help. Some of the nonprofits I worked with have reached out to Salesforce, which is a huge tech company. And Salesforce responded, God bless their hearts, they responded by offering us free Salesforce software. Well, that's appreciated for tracking for our database work. It's a necessary but insufficient donation. Salesforce could do more. Some of the other tech companies that have been approached have not been that generous. They've offered us a few of their employees. That's appreciated that they want to volunteer for 1 day per year. That doesn't really help these agencies. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of mistrust and divisiveness between those two worlds. We haven't figured out how to work with them to get help. So I think there's hope for a better neighborhood in the Tenderloin, an even more vibrant neighborhood, and a neighborhood that really makes this place the heart of the city.